A confusing new Nintendo game just got leaked for the Switch 2, and I don't think it's what you expected. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, one and all, welcome back to another episode of Mood News. How's your day going? You having a good day? Me too. Am I? Well, this is pretty interesting. This makes the day a bit more interesting. I'm not really having a good day. I'm having a weird day thanks to this news. But it's Mood News. Alright, I'm gonna shut up now. So guys, a reputable leaker just revealed some interesting information about a possible Switch 2 game. This leaker is well known by the leaker community. I don't really know. You've heard of him or seen this account along. It's one of those similar to, what's the bird? What's that red bird? You know, it's like one of those accounts, right? So this is someone who's like, okay, this is probably true. And we actually heard about this information back at, I think, Gamescom last year or something. There was some sort of like behind closed doors Nintendo leak about the Switch 2. And this game was one of them. So let's get into it. So this account tweeted, there is a project at Nintendo with a codename U-King-0. It might be related to the rumors of the next Nintendo console codename. Now, apparently, the Nintendo console's like next codename, like the one for the Switch was NX. This one is OZ or Ounce. What could that be? OZ? Orange juice? OZ? I can't think of anything. Whatever. It's annoying. I can't think of anything. If you guys could think of something of what that codename stands for, maybe let us know. Orange Zoo? Is that what it could be? Who knows? Who knows? Regardless, the O apparently is like resembles the like, you know, that new console. And previously with other games, we've seen this like code name with like the thing at the end. Like if it had -C, it was for a 3DS port. I think if it had a -N, it was a Switch port. Or -S, it was or X, it was a Switch port. This one, right? U-King. What do you think that's a code name for? It's bloody Breath of the Wild. So, yeah, back at Gamescom, they revealed, like, behind closed doors, apparently, rumors have it, that Nintendo showcased a Breath of the Wild enhanced port with, like, better load times, you know, better, more pretty game and all that stuff. So it's pretty interesting to see that concept crop up again, meaning we could possibly get a Breath of the Wild remaster or a Breath of the Wild enhanced or the Breath of the Wild HD. That would be hilarious if we get Breath of the Wild HD before we get a Wind Waker and Twilight Princess port on Switch. That would be super goofy. I predict, quick prediction here, quick tangent. I predict for the June Direct, we're gonna get Twilight Princess and Wind Waker on Switch. They're just gonna, like, they've been keeping it for a rainy day. It is for rainy day year this year, right? We're getting port galore. And if we don't get those two games, I'm gonna be very sad. Actually, maybe I won't be sad, because then it means we're getting them on Switch 2, and they could be even more pretty and beautiful. Who knows, right? But this is a bigger question, okay? So the fact that it's Breath of the Wild, and the fact that it's a Switch game that's getting ported like this is kind of strange, right? This could imply that we're not getting backwards compatibility for the Switch 2, which would be, or whatever it's called, for Nintendo OZ, for the Nintendo Ounce. And that would suck, right? Like, it would be really annoying if these games, which we've already invested in, which we've already purchased, would have to buy again for the next console. And it just seems kind of ridiculous at that point. That is one path which they could go. Hopefully they don't go down that path. But there is two other options which we could get with a Breath of the Wild enhanced port or whatever on Switch 2, okay? So, like, one thing which I think PlayStation has been doing with their PS4 to PS5 games, with their enhancement ports and all that stuff, is usually the prices of, like, for PS4 games were, like, $60, and then the ones on the PS5 are $70. And so, in a similar way, you can upgrade your games for a $10 fee in order to make them, like, enhanced onto the PS5, and Nintendo are not dissimilar to this, because they did the same thing with the Wii to the Wii U with Wii U eShop, where if it was a game which you already had on the Wii Shop channel, you could get it at a discounted price when you bought it on Wii U, which I think I did for Mario World or something, where it's like, oh, you bought it for $5 on the Wii Shop channel, well, you can get it for like $2 here, or you can get a, 60% discount. It was something like that, and I think that's gonna be the most logical way for Nintendo to go with this, because if they go with the other route where there's just no backwards compatibility, how awful would that be, right? I would be so upset if that was the case. But there's also an option which could be the best for everyone, which would be amazing, which is it's a free upgrade for people who already have the game. If Nintendo want to like make people like very excited to be like, ooh, I don't even have to spend any money for like my first game because I already have all of these already, giving them a free upgrade for like, oh, in the first month, if you buy the Switch, you get an enhanced port of Breath of the Wild for free if you already have the game. That's a really good incentive where it could drive up sales for people to buy the game, or buy the console, sorry, in its first month, similar to how you would get Piranha Plant early with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I think some incentive like that could be really, really good. And you see it on Steam all the time where games discount their games by 10% or so for its like first few days to make sure that it gets as many sales as possible before it goes on like a full price, which is pretty smart. And I think Nintendo could just sort of translate that idea where they wouldn't necessarily lose any money with this, right? Because they're getting people to buy the console immediately and get a free port of a game which they already had, and that's a good incentive. But also, transitioning from one console to another and getting that player base on board for the next is one of the hardest things to do, I think. Like, obviously, the loyal brand people will do it fine. But if you're like the average schmo, right, where, you know, you're not really prioritizing buying games right now, okay? Because, again, like, people are sort of struggling a little bit. You want to be very careful with what you spend your money on. We're not, like, the economy is not in the best place right now. And so, with that, I mean, that's the same reason why a lot of those layoffs are happening with, like, Microsoft and stuff. Maybe I should do a video on that, because it's quite interesting thinking about that sort of stuff. But seeing that we're in a position right now, right, this might be the same thing by the time the Switch 2 releases, right, in 2025. The world might still be in quite a bad position for people's purchasing power of entertainment. You know, when food is already so expensive and rent is so expensive. So if they do want people to buy it, this system of like, oh, you can get it, you know, for free during this period or something like that could be really, really good. Because I think if they launch this at $70 and you're unable to carry over your Breath of the Wild purchase to this new one, and you have to spend an extra $70, that would be a little bit, you know, greedy of Nintendo in that regard. And also, I just don't think that would be a smart move overall. I don't think many people would buy it because, again, so many people have Breath of the Wild already. Of course, for some people who haven't got that game and haven't got a Switch yet, and so, like, I can think of a couple of my friends who really wanted to try Breath of the Wild but never bothered buying a Switch. This could be a good opportunity for them to get that, but at the same time, if they were so hesitant to get a Switch and to get Breath of the Wild at $60 with the Switch because, oh, X, Y, and Z, what makes you think that they're going to pay $70 or a higher premium price alongside a higher premium console, most likely? It's a really interesting position for this game to be in. And also the fact that it's Breath of the Wild being remastered and not Tears of the Kingdom. Like, Tears of the Kingdom, you would think, would be the obvious choice in this regard because it's the newer game. It's basically Breath of the Wild with more stuff to do. A lot of people would say it's just a better version of Breath of the Wild, or Breath of the Wild with, you know, extremely polished, amazing, quote-unquote, DLC, which was a bit of a controversial thing for people to talk about back in the day. Oh, is Breath of the Wild, or is Tears of the Kingdom just DLC version of Breath of the Wild? It's not as that, guys. Of course it is that to a certain extent, but, you know, that game is such an interesting debate and discussion just because of how it presented itself, what it is. You know, maybe I'll do a video on that. You know, would you guys be interested in me doing a video about Tears of the Kingdom and, like, just the sort of the